Good evening, good evening. We got people already on here. Peace. Good evening. Come on in. Hey, Facebook. Hey, Instagram. I'll give you guys a few minutes to come on in. Happy Tuesday. Hey, roommates. Yeah. We got something in store for you today. Come on in. Happy Tuesday, roommates. Come on in. I'm just getting things together. Y'all see it live and in the flesh. Our wonderful, wonderful house guests. We are so super excited to...
I thought you was going to ask some of your famous turkey chili, but, I guess my little luck ran out.
Well, he telling y'all my business because, I do make a mean chili, and he would know that firsthand. So but I still got some stuff for you, cuz. Don't get it mistaken.
You'll hook a joint up. You'll hook one up.
Do not get it twisted. Come on in, roommates. We are about to get started. Y'all see he clowning already.
Yeah, it was some dead times when you hit my line, like, I made some chili. Well, I was ready to go get on the bus and go get a bowl.
He is not telling the story because I will call him and let him know. Like, it's a few people that really, really, really love my chili, and him and my cousin Mac, they.
That's who I called too, man.
So you call, hey man, let's get ready to go get some thick and cook.
I'm thick and cook some chili. Got a bowl over that way.
Oh my God, man. Yes.
And she sent you home right too. She don't skimp.
I do not skimp with the crackers and the cheese.
Man.
You getting these people hungry, and it's crazy that you.
My cheese. She done made you. You got like 10 different little packets. Greens. I thought it was green onions. Well,
those green onions. I can't even get the interview started, y'all. He's gonna cut up, okay? He's gonna cut up. Okay, I am going. So good evening, roommates. Hey, Nita. Hey, Brown Fox. I see my favorite people in the building already. All of my roommates, y'all come on and chime on in. But in the meantime, I'm gonna kick this thing off the right way. Okay? I want to introduce, roommates, our wonderful house guest, okay? And before I say his name, I have to give him his accolades, okay? This gentleman sitting here with me is an award-winning poet. I hope we can get blessed with something tonight. An author of 12 fiction novels, a creative writing instructor, a philanthropist. He's a father. He's a husband. He is a wonderful all-around person. And above all of that, guys, this is something that many of you may or may not know. He is a kidney transplant survivor. So roommates, I would love for you guys, without further ado, to clap it up and give it up for Why Blackmore.
Yay.
Yay. All I need is a clapping machine and an audience machine. But we'll get there.
Right.
We will definitely get there.
That's coming.
That is definitely coming. It is really just such an honor to sit down with Blak on a formal level, right? Many of our roommates know you. He is my cousin, my family, and we may get around to some of those stories because blood couldn't make us any thicker.
No, that's true.
That's true. Blood just really couldn't make us any thicker. And but in honor of National Kidney Health Month, we will be exploring what that has meant for you. And we'll do that maybe towards the end of the segment. Okay. So I am going to give us a Bible verse about surviving and healing in sickness. Okay. And I always start us off with a Bible verse. And this one today is going to come from Psalm 30:2. And it says, Lord, my God, I called you to help me, and you healed me. If you say, the Lord is my refuge, and you make the Most High your dwelling, no harm will overtake you. So I say that with so much generosity in my heart because I remember when you were going through. And again, we're going to end on that note.
Okay.
But let's just dive on in. I have just given you so many accolades, but I'm going to start with you being an award-winning poet. Can you tell us, how did you start writing poetry, and what were some of your platforms to get you to the space where you started to get awards and recognized in that genre of poetry?
It's funny because I'm a child of hip hop, so I remember the first. I'm old enough to remember before there was any rap music.
Okay.
So when rap music really hit us hard and started becoming real popular, everybody wanted to be a rapper. Mm-hmm. But I was writing raps, what I thought was raps, but my raps would be like 6 pages long. That's kind of a little bit long for a song. So, and then I was saying too much. Okay. So people were just saying my gold chain, or my car. I was saying, well, I was talking about the conditions because I kind of had a different kind of upbringing or education background. So I was talking more about black people's struggles, you know what I'm saying, and uplifting the black people. So my raps was so, for a while it was kind of cool because that's back when we had the X-Clan, the KRS-One, and everybody was doing. Then that quickly went out of style. So I was like, okay, I got to figure something else out. So years later, it took a while, but I had been writing for myself for years and just kind of putting stuff in notebooks, leaving it around the house. And a chick that I was dating kind of was over my house digging through papers going, wow, this stuff is dope. I know where you can go. Like she was going to the coffee houses I had never been. Okay. And she was like, no, they got a poetry scene. It was on the Love Jones had sparked off this poetry scene kind of thing here. And so I went a couple of times with her and just sat and found out a whole new world of people that enjoy spoken word and writing, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I began to write take it more seriously and learn to perform, and that's really where it came from.
And I remember when you first transitioned into poetry formally, where you were going to sets. And he would invite multiple people from the hood, but I always wanted to do something, and Love Jones. Right. To your point, like Love Jones was really a thing, and the very first time I ever went to a poetry set, it was because you invited me, and I remember it was like on 22nd or 23rd in Michigan. Yeah. And that was a famous set. Yeah. And when I went in there, it was the whole Love Jones situation, y'all. The dimness, the snapping of the fingers, and the dope artists up there. And I remember just feeling so proud of you in those moments. How is it, and then you transition into like putting your poems on shirts and stuff. How is it that you turn your dream of writing raps and turning those raps into poems, right? And then eventually putting them on shirts and sweaters and stuff to encourage people in the community?
What was, I ended up writing I wrote some poetry books. I wrote them at a job I was working at the time, using their paper and running it off on their copy machine. And I was selling the poetry books to friends and whoever was that I knew, because I know people from different walks. Right. And they would buy them, but they weren't reading them. And so I was trying to figure out a way. They would buy it just because, I'm Blak selling the book. That's my man. Don't get me wrong, man. I ain't tripping, bro. Throw it on my seat. Throw it on my car seat. Right. But they would never read them. And I appreciated the support, but I wanted to work. You, as an artist and a writer, you don't even really do it for money, believe it or not. Money is a good thing. Now, that's a bonus. It's cool, but you really do it for the art's sake. So I wanted people to write it. Wanted people to read it. And then I also always was into fashion. Where we from know, we always was into fashion.
Yes, sir.
And I got tired of, buying a shirt that just said Sean John on it, and it was $40, and it didn't even match what you was looking for something. So I say, I actually had a background in Hyde Park in graphic design, so I knew how to screen print and do different things. So I figured out, what if I just put my poetry on a T-shirt and I can make the shirts I want?
Genius.
And that's how it was born. Yeah. It was funny because the name, remember, that if you really think there was no name for the first few shirts, they just called them black shirts. So people would walk around like, man, I want a black shirt. I'd be like, no, I ain't got no black ones, only got a white one. They'd be like, no, your shirts, So I figured I got to come up with a name.
Yes.
And a lady that would describe my poetry at a poetry set, she said, I follow you around every time I see your name anywhere because I love your poetry because it's so elementary. She said it's on the elemental level. And I was like, what you mean? She's like, well, the elements, she explained the elements to me, fire, water, wind, earth. And she said another element we always miss is the element of love. And she said, you can tell you got everything in there. You got the fire, you got the water, she said, and also the love that kind of binds it. And so that was like, wow, I thought about it for a while. That's where the name Elemental came from.
Oh my God. Now, as long as I've known you, how close we've been over all the years, I never knew that story behind Elemental. That's deep. And you're right, because when you started to put those your poems on the back of shirts, I would see our comrades standing there reading the poems. So that is extremely powerful, because you took your content from being something that's sitting around on somebody's back seat, and you brought it to life for so many of us. So I definitely want to give you some kudos for that.
Thank you.
You got some roommates over here going off on you. First of all, Tasha said, what up, Hater Blak?
Hater T. Hater T. She got to chill, son. You got to chill.
But Nita is saying she loves the loafers. Everybody is saying, what's up, family?
Tell everybody peace. I can't see everybody's name, but peace, everybody. Thanks for always showing me love, always. I always respond to the love and try and pass it on and give it to the next person. So thank you. Thank you.
So Blak, okay, so now we've talked, raps to poems to shirts, the birth of Elemental. And then you started to write books, full-fledged novels. And these are fictional novels. Can you tell our roommates, first of all, what is a fictional form of book, and how did you publish your first book, and just what inspired some of your book titles, or even your novels?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been a reader. One of the few gifts that my mother was able to give me in the short time that she lived was reading. So I've been a reader. That's been my escape through my whole life. I love to read, so I've read thousands of books. And it usually, as a reader, readers become writers. It's kind of like this natural metamorphosis.
Yes.
And one thing about it is you learn to tell a story. So the best writers know how to tell a story. So I always wanted to tell a story. And some of my heroes, some of my literary heroes were Donald Goines. And I really love Donald Goines because he was the first person that I read that was able to put the Black experience growing up in the ghettos and the projects and dealing with everything. He was able to put that on paper and make it jump off the paper at you. So I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to emulate that between him and Iceberg Slim was another guy that I loved the way he wrote, Robert Beck. So I wanted to be able to write and describe things like they did, and they had a cult following. And I just wanted to create a cult following. Everybody would love to sell books like Harry Potter, but you may not. That's just the reality.
You're right.
If you can get a cult following who really just love the way you write, and those people follow you to the ends of the earth, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? They love to read your stories. But the titles just come from. Well, first of all, in order for it to become a book, I write about Chicago. I'm a Chicago cat.
Yes.
I love Chicago. Lived a lot of parts, except for 290 Illinois. I can't lie, y'all. I live Southside kid forever.
290 Illinois.
It's a million stories here.
Yes,
And,
yes.
you know, I got a chance to talk to Sam Greenlee. Sam Greenlee, we had become real good friends before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy who wrote the Spook to Set by the Door.
Okay.
And so he became a mentor. And I kind of talked to him about it once, like, man, I'm kind of writing about Chicago. He said, Chicago big. Why don't you write about Chicago?
That's it.
It's a zillion stories to
That's
write.
it. That's
so
it.
I've never had a problem with it. I'm just going. So most of my stuff is based in Chicago because that's what I kind of like doing. But the titles just speak for themselves, you know.
What book would you say most align with the story of why Blak more? You.
Me?
What book do you say you like your life would jump off the pages?
None of my fiction books are about me. None of them are based on anyone's life or anything real. It's really my own fictional world. It's my own fictional take. Like, even if it's a book about a gang, I made sure that it's not like any street organization that I know or was a part of.
Okay.
It's its own entity. But I have a book coming out that's really me. It's called Artificially Intelligent. It's a book.
Okay.
It's my book of poetry and essays. That I just finished writing. I'm getting it. I'm about to get it edited now. Should be out hopefully this year. If not this year, the beginning of next year. But we really want to try to get it out this year. But yeah, fiction books are fiction. You know, those are just the made up worlds. You know?
So I say that because so many of your books almost mimic, like you said, it's of Chicago, right? So there's things that I've read, and you've done a lot of books. I mean, how long? What's your time frame from book 1 to book 12? Like, what's the years for that?
I want to say 04. My first 3 books were on Random House, published by Random House, so that's considered a major. And it was kind of groundbreaking to see somebody come out of Chicago and do and even be signed. So 04, and then I stopped for a while. So in the last 20 years, I've been really, going hard with the books, doing my thing with it, And then I started publishing my own stuff, and I even own a publishing company with my wife, Jamie Root, at this point. But we're kind of getting away from. We got like one fictional novel coming out, one more, and then we're kind of getting away from the adult stuff. Because a lot of the stuff I've written lately has been for younger audiences.
Yes.
I got some stuff that's being taught in some high schools.
Wonderful.
Some young adult novels, and right now we should hopefully this year our first children's book will come out. And we pushing to have like a national campaign behind it for media literacy, which is really my wife's specialty. Media literacy, multimedia literacy. So.
And I'm glad you said that, because now that's shifting us to that space of, you being a creative writing instructor. That is so fitting for you. And I know that you do a lot of stuff with the youth. And I'm going to tell you, women and children will get you rich. Okay? And when you're quick with certain things, and you are on the right wavelength when you are coming about and doing some production stuff as it relates to children. But talk to us a little bit about your creative writing instructor space. How did that come about for you?
Really because they need it. I remember writing, like, doing my best to write stuff back in English class, and teachers would be knocking it down like, well, I said write about this. What is this? You gave us 4 extra pages of this.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it because I was outside of that, but they never really encouraged. When you write in most spaces being instructed, they're trying to put you in a box. They're not trying to let your mind wander and
the creativity part of things.
Right. They're not trying to find the mind that created Star Wars and the Matrix. Those things is worth when I teach because I try to teach when I teach young youth about writing. I try to teach them that it's a viable thing to make a lot of money with.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
We talk about billion-dollar industries. Billion-dollar industry that we kind of overlook and think that it does. Like even the rap, that's creative writing. You know, I mean, the problem right now is we think that it can only be this, or it can be so much more. So that's what my job is with creative writing. Is kind of let people, kind of let the young people stretch their imagination.
That's it.
And see, there's a lot that you can do with this. You know.
I love that. How can people and not? I mean, of course, at the end we will get to like how can people reach you in all spaces, but on that track, are you like in the CPS system? Are you working like with chartered? Like, where are you in that segment?
Well, basically, we have a nonprofit that works with multimedia. Yuri,
I love that name.
Youth Urban Reading and Writing Initiative, and
love that name.
Well, basically, we've been contracted. Well, lately we've had more work in alternative school spaces.
Oh,
that's been like our go-to, you know. But for a couple of years, I managed to teach. The summer programs through for CHA.
Yeah.
I actually ended up teaching. A couple of ghost kids.
What?
I ended up teaching his daughters 2 summers in a row.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, well, when we kind of, but this the thing, we kind of ran ourselves raggedy trying to do, you know, we got friends that help us and try, but man, you will run yourself threadbare sometimes trying to, you know, donate and be here and be there.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Right now, well, my wife, her thing is she's trying to finish up her doctorate.
Yes.
And so we kind of, we not really closed down, but we're in the creative because we're finishing up some products. So
okay.
We still working though, but I'm still working in my own capacity too.
I love that. So, is it anything else? Because I feel like, you know, we have to touch on like where did everything start for you, and where did, you know, who are you that's leading up from where you come from to where you are? I mean, we grew up in the Ida B. Wells extensions, very specifically. You know, extension people love to be like EXT. Yeah, way in front of our houses.
Be like EXT.
You know, you are not gonna.
But I got other spaces that influenced me too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk a little bit about that.
I was all over. I had to grow up all over because of the way I had to grow up without parents. So I grew up in a couple of spaces. But to me, to be honest with you, landing in the extensions became my home. Though.
Yes.
I mean, it's like you said you came. It's like you were ferried somewhere.
Yeah.
And you got to another land and be like, okay, I like the air here. You know what I'm saying? And they adopted me and I adopted them.
Ooh, I mean, it is home. It was home because it literally follows us where we are. Yeah. So, you know, many people know us as cousins. Right. Blak and I've known Blak since, you know, again, blood couldn't make us any thicker. Like when I first met him, I was probably under the age of 12. And my grandmother was crazy. And I talked about this last week. I ain't talked about this story, but I talked about how grandma influenced me as a social worker informally because she was really about that whole village thing.
Yeah, she was.
She was really about, you know, it takes a village. And then when she learned Blak's story, like Blak sat down and talked to my grandmother and baby.
You my grandson. And she kept it like that since the day she told me that. She told me, "Who is your people?" When I told her, like, you know, my mama did, and who is your grandmama? My grandmama passed. Well, I'm your grandmama. You got a grandmama. Everybody should have a grandmama, and she stood on that from that moment. You know what I'm saying? Whether Uncle Henry ain't like it, she ain't care who ain't like it. That's my grandson.
Uncle Henry didn't like us,
right.
So don't get it misconceived. He loved us, but wasn't nobody taking his mama.
Right.
Don't play with him.
Right. But she'll come. Oh boy, if you go to jail, he come. Grandma, go get him. Go get him now. Grandma did not play, boy. Grandma, I was a sweet, wonderful lady. Sweet, wonderful lady.
And and not only did she adopt and adapt people into our family, she also was very adamant to us. You know, this my grandson, this my son, this my this my that, and y'all ain't gonna play with him.
Right.
Cookie Baker. I mean, to name a few.
And she's standing on it.
Standing on it will cuss you out and put you out of her house about these people from, not these people, but our family from the community that she decided that they need me and I am going to be there for them in the same capacity that I would be there for you, Mac, you, Lamont, you, Zani, you, Mickey, you know, and so she stood in that space with you, and I have enjoyed it every single step of the way. I want to give a funny story before we move on about kind of like entrepreneurship, right? I mean, we've always...
We always got some money together, though, on this... Me and you, always. We always was doing something,
Listen, y'all, before the us today that y'all see, when we were young adults, and I was probably even in my late teens, we were doing a lot of things in the community. None of it was new, but we was recreating the space because it had kind of happened, like the Screaming Bills, all that stuff. We weren't doing that stuff, but like Great American Idol, but it had kind of dissipated. This was in the mid to late 90s, you know, early 2000s, and things were changing. They were rapidly changing. So he and I, we would sit down and we would be like, look, let's come up with some ways to invite the community to do things, to get everybody up out the hood, at least temporarily. That's where it started. And then let's also make some money. So what we started doing was we started renting buses, but we were renting, for the first time ever, the luxury buses, the coach buses.
Bus where you can sit and watch TV.
The coach buses with the bathroom in the back.
Right, you can watch it.
We started renting coach buses, and the very first trip we ever took was to Magic Waters out in Cherry Valley, Illinois. Okay, and me and him, I think we were successful in filling up 3 buses from people from all of the surrounding communities minus Newtown. No shade, it was just the truth. Like, it was the Dare Homes, it was the ice cream shop, it was across the park, it was the extensions.
Mickey and Leroy with a flip flop when we got back too.
Not this Mickey.
They tore him up.
His lady at the time. It wasn't me.
I wasn't right. It was Leroy. They tore him up too.
Beat him up as soon as he got off the bus.
But all right, go ahead.
As soon as he got off the bus. So that was our first venture of like me and him, like literally getting money together, right? And we weren't even overcharging people. Like we were just getting those group rates. You know what I'm saying? And we made a few dollars. Right. But so we took our show on the big road, and the big road at that time was the door at Polwoods.
Right.
If you know, you know. For about 2 years straight, Blak and I had the door at Polwoods. You talking about 400-500 people every Friday, every Saturday. We had the door, but they had they bar. And so one particular fast, it's probably like 7 in the morning, because that night we went to probably 3 in the morning. We went to like 3 in the morning, y'all, and I had all the money. So Blak was like, go ahead home, get you some rest, but be back here in the morning so we can count this money up and let's figure some things out. So the next morning, I go to his house bright and early. I'm sitting on the floor, in the middle of the floor with all of this money, y'all, counting money, and there's a knock at the door.
I smoked cigarette back then. I was smoking a cigarette in my boxers on the edge of the bed. I'm blurry-eyed because I done been out all night. Don't tell her what I was doing. But she's sitting on the floor counting the money. This my cousin, bro. There's a knock on my door. I'm looking for my gun, Joe. What's going on? We got all this money here. What's going on? All the time. So one of her puppy dogs, one of her little guys, he didn't follow. He didn't came to the door and oh man, Blak, why you ain't tell me you smiled at me, but you take my woman, you got on your drawers. Oh man, this my little cousin, bro. We ain't like we really family, bro. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was, woo.
The moral of this story is, let me give a moral of the story.
Go ahead, well, I'd like to know the moral.
The moral of the story is this. We've always had entrepreneurial spirits. Like I used to like vet him for ideas, and he would always back me when we would come to some sort of terms. But in the interim, you know, the person that I had a special interest in at that time didn't believe that we were cousins, and the fact of the matter, we were not blood, but we had been at this time around each other for a minimum of 10 years. Like he eating at my grandma's table, at grandma's table, not my grandma, at grandma's table, every single family. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that, you know, I wasn't being trusted, and Blak had to talk the person just down and off the ledge and all of that stuff, and I'm just sitting there looking like, you crazy. I'm out here getting some money.
She never stopped counting that money, though.
I just did it. I let you handle that.
We had a pile of money.
I think it ended up being about $3,500 when we got done.
I'm hoping this boy don't act a fool in here, because I'm sure going to beat him down. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you got to relax, man. No, man. She was going, boy, you stupid. She's stealing up all that money, though.
Like, boy, he's trying to talk him down. He's steady screaming and hollering at me over Blak. And I'm just steady looking at him like, you out of your mind. Like, this is a business. Like, first of all, we're family. Second of all, this is a business transaction. I ain't going nowhere until we finish counting this money and splitting this money. And I ain't going nowhere. He got to walk me out. And you ain't
saying, what do you be doing to these dudes, man? Good grief. He done came in the lion's den. Because back in them days, you wasn't getting up out them extensions. You wasn't getting out them extensions. He came in the lion's den looking for his baby. Oh my God. You gotta relax, little homie. It's all good, man.
That is a true story of like,
we
and me and this man been getting money for a long time. I just think me and him still sit up and talk about that story every now and again, because it was funny, but it just really showed. And even after that, we continue to get money. We continue to invest in things together. And so, you know, I've watched him grow in so many ways. He's watched me grow in so many ways. So, roommates, I just gave y'all a little inside tea. You know, we don't name names over here. We don't name no names.
We ain't hating on nobody. You know, sometimes, you know, you get caught up. Sometimes you in love, man. You gotta relax, man. You gotta relax, bro.
But that is a story that at least once a year, me and my cousin still sits up and talk about.
Driving crazy.
Because it was a moment of us getting money. It was a moment of we were young people. I mean, this was over 20 years ago, guys. This was that long ago, and we were in that space of, you can come and have a seat if you want to come and have a seat.
Right, that's what I told him.
But we taking care of business.
Come in, bro. You ain't got. Man, just tell her step out. She can't step out, bro.
Can't.
Step in, bro.
Can't. I was sitting up counting that money, and it was early in the morning. No.
He went from one. He want keep crying. He hollering, bro. Relax, man. I got neighbors, bro. You can't be doing all this, man. Fool. But that's fun. That is fun.
Yes. So we say that to say that, honey, it doesn't matter how you start. Just get your start. You know what I mean? Just start somewhere. You went from starting in, you know, small clubs, doing your poetry, becoming an award-winning poet, then transitioning to getting a huge book deal with a major book and publishing company, you know. But I just needed to give, you know, our roommates a glimpse of like how that entrepreneurial spirit has always been there.
I can say this from writing has taken me all over this map. You know, maybe I haven't been. I got some international friends as poets, and I haven't been out the country doing poetry, but I've been all over because of written word. Man, I've slept in the Watergate Hotel. I'm talking about for real.
Good stuff.
Like just because of things I've written. You know, so I know how powerful it can be, and I still haven't broken through the ceiling of the financial part of it, but I have broken the art part.
That's it.
You create
That's
the
it.
art for the art's sake, though. You know, so that's dopeness to me. You know
Let me tell you, but you know, a wise man once told all of us that, you know, if it's something, if it's a passion and if it's the will of your life, you're willing to do it for free. And like you said, I probably haven't hit that financial ceiling, but guess what? It comes with time. You know, just continuing to like keeping on and to put one foot in front of the other. See, the one thing about miracles, it can happen to anybody, and none of us never know when it's gonna happen, right? Okay. So speaking of miracle, we shifting.
Okay.
We about to do a 360. Okay.
Okay.
Y'all ready? Now, the month of March is a bunch of things. It's National Social Work Month. Y'all seen my roundtable earlier this month. It's every month have a bunch of awareness to it because it's just so much going on in our world. But the month of March also is National Kidney Health Month. And so if you guys are not, and I never try to negate what you guys know or anything, I'm just here to set the stage for what we're going to talk about. So, you know, our kidneys, right, and I'm not a medical doctor, but our kidneys are basically our toilet system, and it flushes the toxins out of our body, and we need it to urinate and to do a bunch of stuff. Like I said, the function of the kidney does a lot, and I'm sure this man know way more than me, especially since he is a kidney transplant survivor. So I want to start from the very beginning of that, from the before. What was going on with you that you realized that something was going on with you?
Man, I stopped. My stomach was hurting all the time. I stopped just wanting to do anything, and I started sleeping 18, 20 hours a day. I stopped coming outside. I sold my tow truck. I stopped hanging out, just everything. I just literally would sleep on the living room floor. Well, one of my things is I sleep on the floor a lot. I grew up sleeping on the floor as a kid because sometimes I didn't have beds. So just, as an adult, I began to just like the way it works with my back. So
and they say it's good for you. I was watching some stuff last night. It's good to be one with the earth. Go ahead.
So I literally would be I literally would be asleep for 18 to 20 hours, and I knew something was wrong. Like how you know something is wrong. Yeah. So you start trying to self-medicate. Yeah. You know, I'm drinking ginger ale by the gallons. I'm drinking the Pepto-Bismol and KO Peptide, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I got an ulcer or something, but something's not right. I knew something wasn't right. And but you know, typically from our culture, black men, poor black men growing up in America, we were not that big on doctors. So I wasn't in a hurry to go to the doctor. I couldn't remember the last time I had an actual physical exam, but because I didn't drink and I haven't, I haven't had a drink or got high since 1991. So, I always thought, well, that can't be, it can be nothing along those lines. But finally, I remember telling the sister I was with, if you're not too busy, you think you could drop me at the emergency room? Something ain't right. She said, she told me, it was funny because she said, well, wait till halftime. She was watching the basketball game.
Okay.
Well, all right. Okay. It was a pretty good game. But, so I know she took me to the halftime. Actually, at halftime, she took me to Stroger's. This is May. This is May of 2010. 2010.
Okay.
And 8 days later, I landed on they put me out the hospital with a catheter in my chest and told me you need dialysis. So I don't know nothing about this. Your kidneys fail. Your kidneys failing, bro. You I think I was at the 3rd stage or maybe 4th stage.
End stage renal disease.
Renal disease.
Wow.
Man, they say, man, it could be hereditary. Maybe they say because of my size, you say you seem like you're a pretty big dude, but your kidneys don't seem that big. So that could be it. You could be, you could have knocked them out with high blood pressure. Because when I went through the dose, as soon as I went through in the emergency room and took my blood pressure, I was at like 200 something over. Like, man, it was crazy. And they took me straight in the back. I remember Torrance Gresham. Torrance Gresham was working back there. He was a nurse.
Yeah.
And he come and stand over me like, man, your blood pressure is what? Talking to me like, man, we got you.
You could have stroked out.
Yeah, I could have stroked out. Yeah. It could have been worse, but like I said, 8 days later, I landed back on the concrete with a catheter in my chest, and told to report to dialysis. And what's so crazy, I went home thinking, man, they tweaking. I'm finna try. I called a couple of my vegan buddies. I got vegan buddies. Man, Joe, I think my kidneys messing up. One of my guys showed up with some celery juice and some pure carrot juice and try this root and put this in your left sock and tie this headband on. And it was already late, Joe. It was too late.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, I waited a couple of days, but then my feet started swelling, and let me call this line. Y'all said come down there. What time? You know what I'm saying?
Where?
I went down there and got my first. I went to Strojan and got my first treatment, and it was like I said, you literally don't know anything about. I only knew one person at the time, who I ended up doubling back on. Rest in peace, Reese Parker. I ended up doubling back on him because he had been on dialysis for years.
Okay.
And like, they got me on dialysis. He was like, well, he said, the only thing I can tell you is get rid of that catheter. You know what I'm saying? And hold on.
Get rid of it?
Yeah. You shouldn't keep the catheter. The catheter is an open access to your body.
That's it.
And you can get infection. And many people die from that. Yeah. And another guy who ended up being my mentor, Tone from Off the X.
Okay.
And cool guy, man. Peace to Tone. I ain't saying rest in peace, saying peace to him. Yeah. We used to hoop all the time. We would hoop at Ellis. And I bumped into him, and I seen the marks on his arm because now you start paying more attention. When they have access points where they've been stuck with the needles, they have what's called aneurysms in their arm. And so I'm seeing that, I'm like, oh snap, man, they got me. Oh man. So he started giving me, I kind of sat at his feet, kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Educating yourself.
He educated me, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, check it out, do this. Stop, don't drink a lot of fluids, you know what I'm saying? If you real thirsty, get you a cup of ice, and, do this and do that, and try this. And so, he made me understand that you need some people to walk you through.
Yes.
So, even rest in peace to Scope, you know what I'm saying? That this past, recently, when he first got diagnosed, and he went on dialysis. He just passed recently. It's a few cats that rest in peace to Bull brother Mike. Mike Wallace came and hollered at me, bro.
Right.
Big Bull came hollered at me. I ain't saying this. He posted himself on the. He has posted himself on the machine. So I ain't putting his personal business because I know a few people that have had kidney problems, but I wouldn't put their personal business out here unless they've already passed or I've seen them ever post themselves.
Right. Absolutely.
So a couple of cats, then you know what I'm saying. They understand that wisdom is important.
That's
Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is so important. Like if somebody understands something, man, you got a better understanding than me. Give me some wisdom on it. You know what I'm saying? Give me some knowledge about it. So they would ask me certain things, and I'll try and give them. I give them the real because somebody had to give me the real to get me to survive to this day.
And so, from how long from the time you went to the hospital to getting on dialysis to learning that you could get a transplant? So I want to break this down in probably 2 more parts. So how did you go from dialysis to like the transplant list? What was that process, and what was the length of time in between there?
Well, they almost immediately began talking about transplants to you because if you have a willing or a living donor or say a family member that wants to try, because say as you my cousin and you want to donate a kidney, even if your kidney don't match me, they could do what's done. They could do do a cross match.
Yeah, cross match. Yeah,
your kidney might match somebody else, and they'll give you the kidney that match them, whatever. So they ask you that, but that's so rare, and it's kind of really scary to ask people like, "Hey, what you doing later, bro? You give me a kidney?" You know what I'm saying? Wait, what? you mean to spend the night over my house and wake up in the cold, in a tub full of ice? Like, what's going on?
Get out stuff.
Right. What's going on?
Organ harvested is what they call it.
I'm back here sharp for nothing. Lay still.
Yeah, I'm getting one of them.
Lay still, baby. You know what I'm saying? I will need one of them kidneys.
Oh my God.
But they kind of give you they tell you at first, but you don't want the thing about it is, and I watch people, I was on dialysis for 8 years, and I watched. 8 years. And I was telling this to my wife one day, I said, I probably watched about a good 30 people die that were on my shift.
That you knew, right.
Were coming on.
That you doing dialysis
like
with.
On each section, like say it would be five to six chairs on each pod, and say within that, like it might be 1, 2, like out of my original section, it's only 2 of us that's living, me and a little Chinese sister.
Wow.
Everybody, they would come in and say, you would see somebody come in, and like I said, we would try to, people come in, you don't really understand what you're going through, so people still were drinking their alcohol, still thinking they can miss treatments, you know what I'm saying, still, like, man, I ain't finna be doing all that. Okay, bro, this your life. And so I got stuff to do. You got nothing better to do, no more important than your life.
Right here, right now.
You know what I'm saying? So, we watch people die from it, but it took me, I didn't get on immediately, but say about 2 years in, I started, because at first I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Because, through my belief system, I was thinking it might have been a foreign object in my body, you know what I'm saying? I was really into the laws of nature at that time, you know what I'm saying? Man, the laws of nature, I don't want the black man to have somebody, I might end up with the other man's organs in my body, you know what I'm saying? And I got the self-preservation is first in every nation, you know what I'm saying? So I went on and got on the list, but the problem, and I'm going to tell you, and I tell this story all the time, because I went to the university to get on the list, and the sister that sits over, because it's not, you don't just show up and get a kidney and it's over. No, it's a whole vetting process. And the sister that was over explaining to us the whole dangers of everything you got to go through, somebody might have peed in her Cheerios because she gave us a terrible so-and-so, and this don't happen, and this probably ain't for you. I left out of there walking down the street kicking a can like I don't think this for me. So for
horrible.
Like another 3 years, I kind of just didn't. This was like I don't forget about it.
That's horrible.
But then a friend of mine she started off as a dialysis tech, but she became a nurse over the years that I was in dialysis in the same clinic. She was looking at me. She came to me one day and she just sat down beside me and just. From like 6 in the morning to like 10, she just talked crazy to me. You soft, you scared to get a kidney. You a punk. What you worried about pain? Pain ain't nothing but you going through a little pain. Who can't go through a little pain? You soft. You got a whole family. People love you. Somehow she was in tears for me, and it was like, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying, girl?
That was an angel,
but
baby.
She put it in my head, and it was like. She was like, go get on. She was like, go get on the rush. Go get on the list at Rush.
Rush Hospital.
At Rush Hospital. Because I told her about my experience. Oh, man, I went to the university and they da-da-da-da. Forget that. You going to let one person stop you from doing what you need to do? Yeah. Man, so I went and got on the Rush list and I ended up with a kid.
How long were you on the list with Rush?
Probably about 2 years. Maybe a little bit over 2 years. And that was only because I was turning down kidneys. Like, people don't know what you looking for, a DOA transplant. A DOA transplant is, I mean, somebody had to die in order for you to get a kidney. But they still, there's a process where they call you, like, they calling you 3, 4 in the morning. Is this you there? Yeah. So we got somebody, we got a kidney. Okay, well, she was locked up. They'll tell you like if it's a high risk person, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they
So
get
you can get
intravenous drugs.
Right.
They die from a drug overdose. Do you think it's something you want? And then it was so good because like I had got real cool with some of the people at the program.
Yeah.
So they was kind of giving me ins and outs. Like they was like, man, you a big dude. You getting a woman's kidney, bro. That's not really a good,
Yeah.
just a smaller organ.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? You don't need a bigger organ. So it was
good, roommate.
So it was good things that they were telling me. You know what I'm saying? So they was telling me like, like you want this kidney, you ain't gotta take it. No, I don't want it. So, but the day they did call me for a kidney, that's a crazy story.
Ooh,
crazy
tell
story.
it if you want to tell it.
Okay, real quick. 3 in the morning they called me. 3, 4 in the morning.
Your kidney that's in you right now.
The kidney that's in me.
He got to get to his roommate.
My daughter named the kidney. My daughter Kasharel, my oldest baby, my oldest baby, who's even though she's the oldest, she'll always be my baby. She named it Calvin. So it's Calvin.
All right, Calvin. Now tell us how you get Calvin.
They called me like 3 in the morning. They say, we got a kidney. 27-year-old guy. He was going to work downtown. And stepped off the curb and somebody mowed him down. He's an organ donor. Being an organ donor is very important. Don't let them tell you it's not.
Please,
it's very
people.
important. We save lives being an organ donor.
That's it.
I know y'all heard all this stuff from I heard university, but I'm telling you, somebody saved my life because this guy simply checked organ donors. So they told. So they was on the phone with me. They say, well, this guy, they ran it down to me. He's never used drugs. He doesn't have kids. He whatever. It's perfect. Do you want this? And so I'm going. They said, well, we give you a minute because you only got a few minutes because there's people on the list. There's people on the list behind you. Like, come on,
right.
Come on. So they said, we'll give you a minute. So I got out the phone. With them, and I'm talking about this 4 in the morning. Dang, man, should I take it? Because this is this is scary. You might not believe it, but it's scary. It's that moment, right? So I called 3 people. I called my sister, I called Villa or Mac, and I called Romel, a white boy. Do you know that every last person I called at 4 o'clock in the morning answered the phone like it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Now these 4 people you might can't get on the phone at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Ever.
But they answered the phone at 4. Villa say, yeah, they got a kidney for you, take it. All right, and hung up.
That's Villa.
Romeo said, what you need me to do?
Come take
You know what I'm saying? You getting that right? You finna get that right? I say, yeah, I'm gonna call you. I called my sister. Yeah, they got it. She said, I'm on my way. And she came from the west side. She a 290 resident. Don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. She from 290 Illinois. I'm on my way. And she came. Now, while she was on her way, so when they called me back in a few minutes. So what you thinking? I said, yeah, I'm going to take it. And so within, they say, all right, well, get down here. Because now you need to get down there.
Yeah.
You need to get to the hospital. So while I was waiting on my sister to get from the west side to my crib, I had on fresh socks. They looked like I had them for 10 years. I walked so many miles in my house and within just waiting on my sister to get there. I walked in circles. I went and put on some new ones. And she came and I went on and got that kidney. I went on and it was a road. It was a road. It wasn't easy, but things that really help you or things that you really need in life rarely are.
And so how long did it take you to get in that clearance zone? Because I know with organs we hear about bodies rejecting organs sometimes.
No, I ended up having to go back to dialysis, which messes with your mind. Yeah. Because you're instantly thinking, once I got this kidney, I'm not going to go back. So I had to go back to dialysis, and the same nurse, my friend, I'm going to say her name, my friend Charmaine, she oh man, your kidney finna be all right. They just got a jump started. And, so it went from, I went to dialysis for the first week. They said, we're going to try you that. We're going to do you that Monday. And then we're going to skip the Wednesday. And then we're going to go Friday. And so they did that. And then they said, okay, don't come Monday. We're going to try you that Wednesday. And then they was like, you don't need to come back, And Then I
So
was
just a couple times.
I went a couple of times, and then I was off and running the zone.
And,
but I've been through rejection. And you have some rejection. You got to take care of it now.
Yeah.
You got to maintain your medicines. You got to do all of that stuff. Yeah. So.
But everything has been on the up and up. You ain't got to be on dialysis. And when did you finally get like the transplant 1 and then 2? When were you like done with dialysis?
Okay, well, like I said, I got the transplant in August of 2018.
Okay.
And the beginning of August. And so within 2 weeks of that, I want to say I was done with dialysis.
Wow.
You know?
And so we damn near August 2025. So that's you almost at a 7-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, that is a wonderful story. I mean, you got people on here saying, "Come on, God is good." It is. I remember when you were on dialysis, and I remember one day just running up to you, being so happy to see you, and kind of just like put my body into you to hug you, and you stopped. You was like, "Thick, I'm in pain, and I got this catheter in my chest."
Man. Oh, they catch you at the wrong time.
Yeah, and he stopped me. I mean, he almost put his hands out because he knew I was coming full throttle, and I didn't even know he was doing this as a silent black man. He was fighting this battle, being his cousin, being one of his biggest cheerleaders, being a person that is always always geeked to see him. I didn't know this, and then one day he finally just told me, and I'm like, I was really broken for him, and he'll tell you even last week, like I am call him and get him on the phone and be on the phone 1, 2, 3 hours depending on what's going on, and that has been our relationship, always. But since the projects had gotten shut down, we still do that. Like we on the phone. I invite him to my house. I make him. I lure him over here by cooking for him.
That chili.
I lure him over by cooking for or barbecuing. Don't forget that
part.
She'll
put a little something on the grill now. She'll throw a little something on the grill. I appreciate that you will still get us together, you know what I'm saying, and extend those invitations are necessary. Even the ones that you can't make, just the fact that you've been invited.
That's
you know what I'm saying, where people love you and genuinely care about you. That's real dope. You know what I'm saying? So that's always been appreciated. Thank you.
Well, we have come to a close.
Man.
But I'm going to let you close us out with some forms of encouraging words. It can be on any topic, but I'll let you, speak to the roommates on any format that you want to, and then I'll officially close us out.
I mean, what I can say, I got to give you your flowers. I don't know if you ever get them. But for me to make a public statement, to know that you have always done your best to persevere and bring your dreams to life, even when you driving me back crazy, you've always had your way of, I want to try and find me some light. I'm going to try and find my way of bringing my light to the world, and that's really dope. And I mean, everybody not going to get it. And I put up a stat one day, and it was really directed towards you. And the stat was about how everybody not going to clap.
Yeah.
Everybody not going to clap. You ain't got to worry about that. But it's so funny because when you do make it to, the mountaintops or wherever you trying to go, first of all, the fact that you produce this, even if nobody sees it, you've done what you said you was going to do. Yeah. That's what people get. See, when I write a book, if I don't sell a copy, I did what I said I was going to do.
You write the vision, make it plain.
So bring to life what you have within your heart, within your soul, because we only got a limited time.
That's it.
We only got a limited time, and I think that's the dope part. One of the things you always hear me call people is God. But God is about being gifted, about being original, and about being dope. You know what I'm saying? It's enough garbage in the world. It's enough hate in the world. You'll never catch me adding to none of that.
Yeah.
You'll never catch me on no negativity. Yeah. None of that. Hey, that's y'all thing. That's not mine. I can't waste a moment. Like, I literally can't waste a moment on it. That's none. It. Outside of preserving your own life, I ain't going to waste my time on it. So, yeah, I want you to, if that's a word of encouragement, if that's what I was brought by the universe here to do this or to say is, man, keep doing your thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People sneak and peek. They peep.
They
peep,
do
yeah.
more than peep.
They
You
peep,
know,
yeah.
they may not join that laugh, but I can tell you, I get over 1,000 views across the platforms every single week. And so I just thank God for using me. It's funny you use the word God and dope, and this is what is on my shirt. I'm thankful for you. You one thing I can say is you've always poured into me, and you've always let me know how you've seen a light in me, and you've given me my flowers along the way. And though this may look easy and some people might think it's self-fulfilling, it is nerve-wracking to get up here to do this. I am literally being led and commanded by God. I mean, literally, until you are a guest, you would never really understand what goes into the behind the scenes, because obviously if you're here, you get the opportunity to see that. I'm thankful for you as my cousin. I'm thankful for your contribution to my life, your contribution to our community, and I'm thankful for your contribution to Rumor Has It podcast.
Thank you. And
Roommate.
Shout out Phoenix, Joe. Phoenix, the producer.
Listen,
everything.
Hey, I tell these folks every week, if it
My
wasn't for
cousin
Phoenix.
She the security guard, she the chef, she the camera
everything.
woman. Right. I think she searched me at the door, you know what I'm saying?
She's everything. She is everything. Roommates.
I love her too.
Thank you, Blak. Thank you for loving us. Roommates, thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for supporting this platform. We really appreciate it. I love you all.
Love
Good
y'all.
night.
Peace.
You get on my nerves.